Yes, please, Sidra.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Sidra, and I'm going to start the webinar today. I'm an HR intern at WomenAscension. Today, we are attending special edition of WomenAscension Mentor Session 1.28 with our mentor, Snežana Bošković, Head of HR at Eryce AG. The topic is self-confidence and self-respect of women at work, how to recognize and deal with gender-based issues like manipulation, disrespect, violence. Our mentor, Snežana Bošković, is a professional with senior experience in HR and project management, capacity building, training, and personal development. Over the years, Snežana has developed extended cooperation and communication with the stakeholders on different levels, with strong track record in negotiation, lobbying, and advocacy. Snežana has been successful in project and staff management, involved in the process of mentorship and supervision, giving individual support, and being a member of assessment committees. Within her HR professional career, she has been able to implement new structures and procedures, plan and implement employee development and assessment systems, and to manage changes on different levels. In overall professional career, she has been involved in creating policies, strategies, and action plans for governmental and public bodies and civil society organizations. She has developed advanced skills in preparation and implementations of public and media events, conferences, and training programs. Snežana is skilled in preparing, planning, implementing, evaluating training programs, workshops, roundtable as well, having in mind the principles and ethics of working with different targets group. Besides, she has senior experience in working with different community target groups and individuals in the region and abroad, mainly targeting post-conflict areas. Ms. Snežana, thank you for your time. Happy Women's Day, all of you. Thank you from my side.
Thank you, Sidra. Thank you for this huge introduction. Whenever I'm listening to this introduction, I feel a little bit of shy because somebody is talking about me, and I'm just sitting here and looking and waiting for something to say. But anyway, thank you very much for your introduction. Thank you very much for your trust and invitation, so that you find me someone who has something to say on this topic. And thank you for your nice words about the International Women's Day. I would like to share my energy and positive thoughts to all the women around the world, especially to those who are facing at the moment life in poverty, violence, etc. So our responsibility of women who are encouraged in a way, who are empowered in a way, our responsibility is to solidar with the women who are not. So that's why I like to talk about this topic on this day. I am a very big fan of flowers, but not for this day, because I don't think it's a matter of presents and celebration, but I would rather point some issues and talk and discuss about some things that we do not discuss on every other day. So please interrupt me whenever you feel that I may be not speaking clearly, or you want to ask me something, so you don't need to wait for the end of this webinar. Just interrupt me whenever you want, or you can point down your question or put it in the chat box, whatever you want. And I would really like if you can turn on your cameras, because it's really strange when you talk to the blackboard. And so I would appreciate if you do that, but if you really don't want, it will be okay. But turning on the camera and talking to faces is better than talking to the blackboard. So that's just for me. Okay. So I would like to introduce you with the topic, because our main topic, thank you, great. Our main topic is actually women at work, and what do we face every day at work? What kind of relationship do we build at the workplace? what kind of issues we face there, and how can we handle those situations on everyday basis. When I was talking to Mahin, the coordinator of WomenAscension, and she told me about the challenges that women in Pakistan and neighboring countries are facing at work, then we talked that maybe I can help with some sharing, with some experience. So if you find something constructive, something that I speak about, you are so free to try it, to share it. But at the first place, I would like to hear from you, so how many of you are employed? How many of you women are at having a work at the moment?
I have a work at the moment. I'm employed, but I'm like working from home nowadays.
Okay, thank you. So what about the others? If you don't want to speak up, you can just put me kind of input in the chat box, or just give any emoji about anything you like, so I would consider you as being employed. Okay, if you're not employed, maybe you are a student or belonging to some kind of organization or initiative, or being in a kind of a team. So it can be also be your work at some in some case. Okay, so you don't want to talk to me? Okay, I appreciate that. Yes, of course.
All right, Snežana, I have like, I'm not working for anyone for like past 2.5 years, you can say that. But I'm facing a lot of true challenges when it's come to profit shipping, when it comes to, you know, what we call it, exploiting the market. Because as a woman, you know, in the commerce market, it's very difficult for you to actually work on your values and not let others to actually exploit your values. So it's quite challenging at times. So yeah, this is quite different than that of, you know, when I used to work. It's quite different challenges that I'm facing in these years.
Okay, so you're talking about approach to others when you yeah, of course.
If you want, and there's time, I can tell you some challenges that I faced during the like 15 years where I started working, you know.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Go ahead. Can you share it now?
Yeah, okay. If you want, thank you. You know, I'm like seeing on the social media a lot of hashtags. They are saying she the boss. I don't know, maybe I would love it more if we say she the leader. You know, she the boss. I feel it intimidates. Maybe it intimidates men. Maybe they will be intimidated by you when you say the boss. But the leader, it's, for me, I feel it's like it's vast. The boss, it's like narrow, you know. The leader is vast. He's a team leader. She's a team leader, you know. They gather, not like the boss. So I don't know why the hashtag is so renowned and famous nowadays on LinkedIn and other social media. You know, also for example, throughout my years, my professional years, there were a lot of challenges regarding women in the workplace. They vary according to age, culture, competitive atmosphere, kind of work, business. I want I want you later to tell me your opinion if what I noticed is true. You know, one thing which is common is the way that the woman presents herself. Okay, how she tells her brand, her work, her idea, how she markets herself. I want to be frank. I don't want to sugarcoat, because I'm talking in the voice of a lot of women now.
Of course.
You see, some women are shy, but I know what's happening. You know, some women, okay, they don't want to be treated as a humans. They don't want to be treated as a humans, but as feminine women. You know, as feminine women. Which is wrong to me, because at work they should be treating you as a human, do all the jobs the man does, you know. I'm very impressed with some peacekeeping forces. I will not name them, but we know them. They treat the woman as the man. They drive tanks. They work hard. They do all the hard stuff that maybe in some armies or some institutions, they tell the woman, your place is just at the desk. You have just the administrative staff. But we need to see more of that, yani, more competitive and challenging for the woman. I will stop now if you want to add something later.
Yeah, great. Okay, thank you, Lina, because I don't want to give you a lecture. I mean, we should use this an hour to share our thoughts, to open the questions, and I would like to encourage you to think differently, to try to think at the situation from other perspectives. So if you after this webinar think about some things that you didn't before this webinar, my mission is fulfilled. So I don't want, you are women who has certain experience, so I don't want to teach you things, but I am here to pose some question and to maybe open some doors that you thought that are closed. Okay, so thank you for this introduction, Maheen and Lina. It is very useful for me, so now I can elaborate what I wanted to share with you. So, okay, let me start from the working atmosphere, actually from the company of, or from the organization where you work or where you want to work in. So what can you do in the beginning? So when you're looking for a job, it is not only that they are choosing you. Look at the interview or at the selection process, like the opportunity for you to choose them as well. So think, do you want to work there? So when you enter the selection process, when you go to the HR interview or technical interview, look at those women and men. Observe them, listen what they speak, how they treat you at the interview, how they communicate to you, how they write their mails. Do they answer your questions? So those are many impressions that you can collect and think, do I want to work for them? So that is the starting point when you give your efforts to put yourself first. In your culture, as well as in mine, this is not so, let's say, so appreciated when you put yourself first. Am I right? Especially when women want to put herself first, in front of the family, in the relationship. So the woman, the function of the woman, unfortunately, in many countries is seen as a serving others, being there for others, making relationship good. Because, you know, when we have a quarrel with our partner or family or a kid, we are sick for days. We cannot function. We go to work, but we think about, oh, how am I sad, or when I come home, I have to speak with my husband or with my mother to fix the problem. So we cannot function. We cannot work when we have quarrels, and because we want good relationships. What about men? I'm not making generalization, but I'm speaking from the practice, from the experience. Men easier go over the conflicts. They have a conflict and they go to work. They work. They just switch to another atmosphere. They go to travel, they go for a drink, they came home, and they are like, nothing happened. And what about us? We were waiting and we were sad for a whole day until we resolved the conflict. And then we can go on. So there are differences. How do women and men approaching the relationship, and what kind of efforts they put in it? So I would like women to think about putting their self first. It doesn't mean you are selfish. It doesn't mean you love only yourself. But if you don't set the boundaries around you, no one will. If you don't make a structure, how much you work, what you work, what is the communication that you want to come from other person, what is the approach that you want other person to approach you, no one will. So if people treat you badly, unhumanly, and you don't communicate that with that person, that it is not okay, they don't know. People cannot read each other's mind. There are some people who can read between the lines, who feel the energy, but those people are minority, and we have to talk. So I know that there are cultures and there are countries where someone will say, but Snežana, you cannot teach me that, because if I do that, I will have problems at work or in my family. But it doesn't have to be aggressive. It doesn't have to be in conflict with your values, with the tradition. But standing for yourself is something that we are owning ourselves, because no one other will. Maybe some of our friends, the close relationship will tell us, you have to take care of yourself. And that is what I mean. So the first point is, when you are trying to find a job, think twice. Think deeply. Do you really want to work for them? If you know that there is a director or a manager or a boss, as Lena said, who is too authoritative, too strict, maybe violent, or has violent communication, or treat people unhumanly, that is the way that probably that person will treat you as well. But there is also one thing that we can, that people sometimes treat us the way we let them treat us. What I'm trying to say, sometimes you have a situation where you face with somebody at your work or a faculty that is rude to you, or you don't like the tone somebody is talking to you, or you don't like the words that somebody is telling you. So ask yourselves now, how many times did you react? How many times, let's say from 5, how many times did you say, sorry, but this communication is not acceptable for me? If you continue talking to me like that, I have to stop. And maybe we can continue later or tomorrow if you choose another way of communication. How many of you were in situation to say that? Usually women are not doing this. Why? Because they are thinking about the impression that they will leave at the other person. So they think, if I say something like that, please don't talk to me like that. We assume that the other person will assume us like being rude, being selfish, but that is not true. What actually happens? That person can respect us more because he or she told us standing for ourselves. So yes, usually everything starts from us. But how can we do that if we are having low self-confidence? If we don't have self-respect, how can we stand for ourselves? Well, the practice is the only answer. And if I take a look at my career and at my life. Now I'm 45, and I was not always confident as I am today. But I know my journey. And when I look back before 10 years ago or 20 years ago, I was really unconfident, taking care about what will other people say about me, how will they perceive me, totally not thinking about how do I feel, what do I need, and who am I? And with ages, with years, and with experience, I learned things. But you don't have to wait for 20 or 30 years to learn about these things. That's why we speak about it. That's why we share our experience. And that's why the women cooperation is so precious. So if we don't share with each other our experience, how we went through crucial phases of our lives, we lose. So I think that women's solidarity is number one. And that actually, when I look back at my past, there were 2 or 3 women that changed my life. They were so open to share with me, to tell me about their mistakes, because you don't have to make every mistake in life. You can learn by other people's experiences. So let me summarize what I was talking in 10 or 15 minutes. So for the first point is, choose your working place. They're not only choosing you, they're not only selecting you. Think about the selection process and employment as an opportunity for you to think, is that the place where I want to work? Are those people my colleagues that I want to cooperate every day with? Is that the leader that I can learn something from? Is that the leader that is pushing people up, not down, not making them down? So you said, Lena, good thing. So boss is, yes, we still sometimes use this term, but the leader is a crucial, actually, term, because there are people who have to lead others, who have to be the support system for the others. Leaders feel people, think about people, try to modify their approach to different people. Boss is direct, is authoritative. The boss tells other people what to do. Leader is trying to know every team member the best he or she can, and then he or she is letting them do what the best can do. So thank you for pointing this topic up. Try to recognize, are you going to work with the leader or with the boss? There are also bosses who are not, let's say, violating their function. There are also positions that people need to know what to do. What is also very, very important is try to recognize what is the culture of that organization. What are the values? How will you see that? They will say, our value is respecting every team member. Our value is transparency. Our value is diversity. And then you go there and you don't see diversity. Then you go there and you don't have information. But how come when their value is transparency? So in the practice, you can clearly see, are these values respected or not? And that is the red flag for you. What does it mean? That you have to rethink, are you at the good place? Okay. Well, how does this resonate with you? So is this what I'm saying making any sense for you? Are you facing with something
Yeah.
similar?
Yeah, but can I tell you something? Can I add something? A lot of women in our culture, like for example, they don't want to work in this workplace which doesn't respect them, but you know, they don't have any other choice. So sometimes they have to succumb, okay, because they want to pay the bills, because maybe they are divorced, they have children, because they are having financial hardships, okay, so they have like, they yield. And something else, in our cultures also, I think also in foreign cultures, some women have, for example, to talk with a third party in order to pass a test, in order to go to a workplace, in order, you know, sometimes when I communicate with an organization, I hear people saying, okay, if you know someone in that organization, you will pass the test. Or if you know someone in that organization, you can have this work or have this job, you know. So I'm just telling you what challenges or hardships or difficulties what a woman in certain cultures may face.
Yeah, thank you for this. Of course that usually we don't have many choices, so that we have 3 working places and now we can choose from those 3. Of course we have to pay our bill and feed our kids and you know, pay our mortgage or whatever. But what I want to say is that when you're going to an interview for a job, don't put yourself in a passive role. Also interview them. So think, is that the place for you? But you can see something wrong is happening in the beginning. Okay, but of course, sometimes or usually you cannot choose and you go and work where you can. But also something that you, Lena, mentioned is the presentation of a woman, or how do men expect women to behave at work? So this is also, I would say, the process of education. There is some culture, there is tradition, but changes are something that need to happen. So we cannot always say something like, well, this is the culture, well, this is tradition. So what does it say to us? That we can't change anything? It makes us in a definite role. So it makes women totally empowered. So be careful when we're talking about the culture and tradition. I would encourage you to think about what can we do with ourselves that will make a change. You know, like a small stone, when you drop it in a sea or in the river, and you know how many circles this little stone can make, even though the sea is so huge and the ocean is so great, but only small stone can make so many changes with these circles. What I'm trying to say, usually we cannot change the system, or we cannot so quickly change the working environment. But what we can do, we can try to react. We can try to change our approach to our colleagues, to our leaders, to bosses, and to put and set the boundaries. Sometimes men at work perceive women too emotional, or being hysterical and stuff like that. It cannot be changed just over the night, but we can change how do we perceive those messages. We choose to accept that or not to accept that. We choose, is it going to hurt us, or we just listen, say, well, that's not true, or I'm not agree. I do not agree with you, and just put that go. So don't accept what is not yours. That is the way of how we can make influence the impression we leave at other people. Also, sometimes men at work expect from women to be feminine women, but every one of us women have our feminine and masculine side. At the end of the day, you can be whatever you want. You choose from the situation to situation. Are you going to be more feminine or more masculine? I learned a lot by working with men. So there are many things that I like in a man approach. They are kind of direct, they don't talk too much, they are precise, they want results and stuff like that. And when I talk to them, I try to use their approach. So we speak same languages. Sometimes you feel like people at work don't understand you. Sometimes it seems like you are speaking your language and they are speaking some other language. And until you don't find the same language, there cannot be understanding. So stay flexible to different approaches. Use different skills of communication. Don't take things personally, because it doesn't have to do anything with you. And that is the way of making the self-respect and self-confidence. So really, when I'm saying it like this, you can say, oh, when you say it is so simple, but when I get to work, it is so hard. It is, because it is practice. You know, it is like the small kid is learning to walk. In the beginning, it is very hard. But with tryings, it becomes easier and easier. And it is skill. And once the kid starts to walk, he or she never forgets how it goes. So it is really, it can be implemented with the communication skills. So it is hard in the beginning, and everyone would say, oh, come on, but what are now you are selling me some communication skills that you learn in this seminar or webinar, or what are you trying to say? That's not you. Yes, it is you. You can be millions of things. If that is not true, then education doesn't work. But the skills are something that we can learn. And more communication skills are influencing our self-confidence, because self-confidence will not just come from the sky, or it will not just appear like this. Self-confidence is building. Somebody is born with the kind of a gift. You know, people that you would say for them, oh my God, he's a born leader, or she's a born communicator. There are some genetic predispositions, but if you are not practicing that, it will disappear. So the practice is something that makes us stronger, more courageous, and let yourself be in an unpleasant situation. Expose yourself to conflict, expose yourself to situations at work that are challenging. Then use some communication skills, for example, assertiveness or active listening. And then you see yourself survive that hard situation, and then you feel pride, then you feel joy. And that is a step to self-confidence or self-respect. Any comment, thoughts, feeling from your side, please?
Snežana, I would like to add one of my experience. In the previous sessions, remember you told us like learn to say no, set boundaries, communicate, assertiveness, you know. At that time, you took me to one of the experience that I had during my work life, that we were set of directors sitting, and out of 17 people, I was the only female sitting over there. And one of my colleague, one of the director, he just passed the pad to me and writing pad to me and said, you know, Maheen, why don't you write, Miss Amjad, why don't you jot down the points of the meeting? And I just smiled at him, you know. If I'm the only female in the meeting, it doesn't mean I'm going to jot down the, you know, the points. I think you should do it yourself.
Yeah. Great.
For,
well done.
For him,
Yeah.
it was like, no, I was not, you know, going to offend you with this thing. You're not offending me. I guess you're in habit of doing that females are going to, you know, do the, you know, jotting down or the file
less
work, you know?
complicated jobs, of course. Yeah.
So, yeah, that was the time where I set example towards those male that you're not supposed to do that, you know?
Yes.
So, you know,
yes, of course.
Yeah, it's not.
Of course, but Maheen, your reaction was crucial because that was the key point of change.
Yeah.
You know, like generation. You know, let me share with you one example. In some communities, the girls are getting married very early. Let's say at the age of 12 or 13, and it goes with the generations. So I did like my mother did, and my mother did like her mother did, and stuff like that. Unless one of us, for example, my daughter, says, I don't want to get married at 12. I want to go to studies. And she is kind of a crucial point of change. And from that situation, she switched the generation path, and from that point her daughter and probably her daughter will act differently. So it's the same at work. Once you make it's a small thing, but it's a huge change. Reaction, instead of being passive and inactive or how would I say, inert, not saying anything or just accepting what other people are giving to us. So yes, it's crucial to react, to say no. And you could say it nicely. And no one has to be defended by you because you say no. Yes, it can be strange. Expect that maybe it can be surprising because you are somebody that was silent. It can be surprising. It can be unexpected. It can be maybe embarrassing because you don't know how people will react, but still you stand for what you said. Once, twice, and then you make a new routine. That person will never say that again to any woman, I think. But you will tell me.
Yeah, I think he learned his lesson. Yes. Not just him.
Of course.
The bunch of
course he did.
Yeah.
Yes. And not only he, but you spread the message to all people who were in the room. So you were not directly telling to them, but they've heard.
Yes.
And they saw what happened. They were all probably very surprised and waiting for, oh my God, what will happen now?
Obviously, yes.
But then, yes, you got the resolution and it was good. You stand for yourself. You were polite, you were strict, you were short. So don't expect that too much. No, I don't want to do that. Why should I? Is it maybe because I'm the only woman in the room? Experiment.
Yeah.
Try. Of course, you assess how safe that is for you. So you assess, is it the safe place to practice that? So I'm not pushing you. I would like to push you a little bit in the red corner, but you assess how safe that place for you is. Great, thank you for this example. Of course. And
Can
yes,
I
yes,
add something, please? Yeah. Can I add
yes.
something? Yeah. You know, every woman, I feel
So there's, I
she
can
has
hardly hear you. Sorry.
all the right to look feminine at her workplace. But it's the behavior or the attitude. Sorry for the noise in the background. Yeah, I know. Sorry for the noise in the background. I had a logistic problem, you know, the electricity went off and things like that.
Okay. Okay, can you please just
But,
repeat now?
I don't
Now
know
it's
if you're
better.
hearing me now.
Now it's better. Can you repeat,
Yeah, so
please?
what was I'm saying, that every woman has behavior or the attitude that accompanies the dress code, which defines the audience or sorry for the noise because I had a logistic problem. Electricity went off. So, you know, I'm saying that every woman has all the right to dress, but it's the behavior, it's the attitude that accompanies the dress code, which defines the audience or the way you want to be looked at or treated, you know? Whether you dress whatever you dress, but it's the attitude, the body language. You should like be dressing, you should be addressing the woman. Unfortunately, they think they adopt the easy way when you address the instincts. The difficult way is when you address the mindset of the society and the men. Men will be starting looking at you like you are a partner, you are a counterpart, you are a colleague. And this is, I think, the success starts when men start looking at you as a human, not as a woman wearing a skirt or something like that. I don't know if you understood me.
Yes, yes, I do, of course. But what do you think, whose responsibility is that? Who has to make changes to look at women at other way?
Okay, I think the woman as an entity plays a major role. The woman, like for example, already against the woman, but the personality of the woman, okay, the personality of the woman helps you to do such a thing.
Yeah.
Because, for example, I saw it in some workplaces. I can tell you an incident. I don't want you, one day, for one day, okay? But the way she talked is
sorry, I
was saying, please, sir, I need to take a day. She was talking anyway. Yeah.
I have really problems to hear you, but yes, maybe we can stop here. I will try to paraphrase what you said. So just please correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. So you're saying that men sometimes are perceiving women by the way they are dressed. Yes, and that is I would say the problem with the man, not with the woman. Because if there is a dress code, my task is to respect that. Okay. But where there isn't a dress code, I will wear something that is professionally correct. And I cannot influence how do men see me, but no one should make assumptions for me according to how do I look like, okay? And yes, I know that it is happening. For example, in my company, 10 days ago, the director of the company said, I'm working in a programming, in a software development company, and there are both men and women. There are maybe 1/3 of women, so more of men. And my CEO, he told us something like what we have done in a past period, and the guys did the good job. The guys, you know. So what was the message for the women? We are not there. So it is also very crucial, the terminology. How do we speak with our employees? And there is also crucial. How do people, just 1 second, please. Sorry, I had some technical problems. So the terminology and the language is very important. So also it's our responsibility to react, to say. I came to my boss later on and I told him, you cannot talk like that. There are also women, because one of my colleagues, she came to me and she said, I felt terrible when he said, oh, guys, you did a great job. What about us? You're not guys. But she was encouraged to come and say, and we communicated that. And according to our values, this is not appropriate. So he will not repeat that. Of course, it is not always, I know that not every company has the atmosphere like that. So somewhere you cannot go to the boss's office and tell him anything. But what you can do, you can set your rules and your boundaries. You can tell people how do you want them to perceive you, or to say them what is acceptable for you, what is not acceptable for you. That is what can you do. And that is the way of the education of others. And that is how the mentality on long run is changing. If we accept what we are given, what the way that some men approach us, if we accept that and keep silent, probably nothing will change for another 100 of a year. We also have to make a kind of community of women so that we can talk to each other, that we can be support to each other. So if we want to make change, it is better if the 3 of us, or 4 of us, or 5 of us expose the problem, expose the issue. So we keep each other back. What you say?
I feel you're talking, yes, when you expose the problem, it's very important, because this is the healing will start. This is the correcting of the situation will start when you expose the problem, yes. Because some people are afraid to say that there is a problem. No, there is a problem. There is a problem, and you should be aware that there is a problem to confess.
Of course.
You know?
Yes, that's very, very important. It's a good point you make, because sometimes we kind of making that normal with, well, this is the way it is. This is our culture is. This is how our mentality goes. So we have explanations for that. Don't do that. Don't normalize things that are not okay. And that's the starting point. Don't smile at the jokes that are not funny for you. I'm not smiling for the joke about the blondes, not because I'm offended, because that's not okay to talk about it. I'm not smiling at the jokes about the Roma people, which are a lot of jokes about those population in my community. But then I can say, well, I'm not smiling. Somebody will think about me that I'm not normal because everyone is smiling. So it's my decision to be different in that situation. But then I will maybe make some of them think, well, what was wrong? What did I say? And she's not smiling. So the courage is also one of key things. To do something that you know that maybe you are not having support for that, even then, it's easier when you have support. It's easier when you have more of them, of you facing the same problem. But sometimes you have to, inhale and jump in the water. There is no other way. Okay,
You know, there's a problem, I think it will be more seen in the horizon, because as you see, there are a lot now of entrepreneurs, people who are becoming very famous, bosses, women who are having a high post, maybe because of their family of wealth, things like that, you know. So I feel that there will be more awareness. There should be more training, how to empower each other, how to treat each other well. You know, some people have been like working for 20 years and they had all the hardships they faced. Some people now, they are becoming like very famous, very fast, like successfully fast, you know. So there will be
Oh, so I can hardly hear you, Lina.
I think there will be, at the long term, there should be a training for, so not to have problems in the workplaces or among them.
Yeah, exactly. So no, it's okay. The first step is that we define.
I'm saying that I'm
where...
sorry, there's a noise, I think, in the background, but I didn't want to leave the meeting.
Okay, please don't leave the meeting. We will manage somehow. Yeah, it's okay. So the first phase is to identify we have problems. It's not about the culture. It's not about the mentality. We have problems if somebody treats us differently because we are women, we are less, we are weak, we do less paid jobs, or we do less complicated jobs, or we are emotional or stuff like that. So that's the story for somebody else. We can be emotional and still be on very responsible working places. So it's nothing wrong between emotional. It's the matter is, what do we do when we are emotional? So mature people have emotions and know how to deal with them. Okay, I just wanted to encourage you to. Sorry. Sorry, Alina, but we can't really hear you. I just wanted to.
Can I add something? The term emotional. Yeah.
We are sorry.
Yeah, okay.
I would just like wanted to make a few points for the end and just invite other people to talk as well, if you agree. So maybe someone else would like to speak or to share with us. Just before that, I wanted to point out a few things that I would like you to go with this from this webinar, is to think about your superpower. So what's the first aid for all of us? To think about, what do we do good? What are the things that are very skilled in? So it doesn't matter, are we, let's say, associates or head of departments? There are things that we do very good. And that's why people should respect us. So those are our superpowers, and don't forget for them. So I would like for all of you to have a kind of homework and to think, what is my superpower? Because you all have them. Some of you is a good listener. Some of you is a great carer. Some of you is a good analyst. Some of you is a good presentator. Some of you is a good leader. So every one of us in a working environment have some superpower. Don't forget about them. Okay? Okay, so anyone else, would you like to share with us your thoughts, your feelings? I would like to give an opportunity to other people from the audience. Yes, Mahin also said that. So please, you can also say your feedback to this webinar. So it is a very short, let's say, time-boxed time slot. But I hope that you got something from this. Tell me, am I right or wrong? Okay, or maybe somebody would like to put something in the chat box so I can read. How to control emotional blackmail. The first thing is to identify is blackmailing. So usually emotional blackmail is kind of a manipulation. So when you see, you feel it, you feel something is not okay. You're feeling somebody is treating you bad. Identify that stage, address it. Don't be collaborator in that process. Don't play the game of blackmail. When you identified it, stop. Try to exclude yourself from that game and ask for help. Because if you're all alone in that process, it is harder for you to step off and to resolve that situation. So first of all, identify what is going on, identify your feelings according to this, be aware that this is a manipulation, so that you have an issue with the manipulator, and ask for help. So it's very short. So I'm not giving recipes or advices, but it's very short recommendation at the end of this session. Helpful? Good. You're very welcome. Okay, Mahin.
Thank you, Snežana. This time 1 hour just flew by. I just didn't even know it's just 1 hour right now. So thank you for the lovely time, lovely knowledge that
you're so very welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
thank you all for listening.
Yeah, and I hope that we have many youngsters in line with us. They learn these things, that what we have faced, they don't repeat. When they see it, they don't act passive. They assertively, smartly respond towards that.
That is so good to hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, being responsive, that's a good way. That's the good word, maybe. Being responsive to what is happening to us, to respond in a way. So respond anyway. It's better than don't do anything.
Indeed. So thank you for your time, Snežana. You have other commitments
okay.
as well?
Yes, thank you very much. So if anyone wants to contact me or anything, you have my contacts on LinkedIn, and you can contact me through Mahin. So wish you very nice day today and a lot of luck. So just keep on going.
Thank you, Snežana.
Bye to everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.